I think it's more of bringing responsibility back to Impact Wrestling. Jeff Jarrett, he grew up in the business. His dad in Memphis and all that stuff, and so did Dutch. And I just think before there was too much of the guys just doing their own stuff. Like they just go out there, and I think there's too much stuff just keep blending together and stuff. And now you got Jeff and Dutch who comes in here, and they basically tell guys, no, this is what we want, plain and simple. And if you can't do it, then you can go somewhere else. And to me, that's how a business should be run. Like I didn't sign up to be the writer. I signed up to be the wrestler. If I go into a movie set, I can't say, no, I don't want to die before Tom Cruise. I got to die after him. No, I didn't sign up for that part, And I think now with Jeff and Dutch in there, there's more, guys respect them. That's what I want to say. Guys, there's guys in position that people respect now. And so everybody is actually working together a lot more, kind of like it was in the very beginning of TNA when you had a bunch of guys that people didn't really know, as me, AJ Styles, Chris Harris, Samoa Joe, Low Key, Sanjay Dutt, all these guys. And now with Jeff and Dutch back in there, everybody is kind of just coming together now. And because I told them, they did this big campaign, make Impact great, make Impact great. And I said, plain and simple, not one person is going to make Impact great again. It's going to take everybody in the locker room like it did before to make Impact great, working together, plain and simple.
That's and that's spoken like a guy who's seen it all, and it's so cool to see both Jeff and Dutch back in TNA or Impact. It's like it's going to take a while to get used to saying Impact like crazy, but it's very awesome to see Impact having Dutch and having Jeff back because they are such great assets and they've been around the business forever. But this tour of India that you guys just did and the TV tapings in India, obviously we're seeing across professional wrestling, India is a huge market, and I know Jeff Jarrett knows a lot about that because he explored it a few years ago. But kind of talk about that trip out to India and what that was like and those tapings, because another one, it just seemed like the electricity was off the charts with that crowd that was there in India.
Yeah, it was just, I don't want to talk bad about the crowd in Orlando, but, it's like, come on, like, they kind of seen everything, and let's get real, like, a lot of the people in there also is park people, so they kind of really don't know what's going on. You have the, 100, 200 people in there that are the regular fans that come all the time, but there's a lot of park people who are led by the regulars or whatever. But with India, there were so many of there was about 90% of the crowd knew the product, just because, and it was so much fun just to come out there and hear them really just pop like off somebody shooting somebody off to the ropes or giving a hip toss. It's like, all right, this people like when you go to a wrestling show, you want to go and have fun. Like the worst thing to do is just sit there and watch us run around in our underwear. So, and I always tell people, like, if I pay money for something, I'm going to go and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to yell and I'm going to scream and I'm going to do whatever I want to do, plain and simple.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And I got to tell you something, just picturing you in India is part of, I think, the fun of kind of looking back at those tapings because a cowboy in the streets of Bali or wherever you guys were hanging out there is that's got to be pretty interesting. But how's the culture shock for somebody like you, a beer swilling, Johnny Cash listening kind of guy down the streets of India?
It's funny. I stood out just a little bit. Not too much, but especially running around with my cowboy hat and stuff on. But it was actually cool because hopefully the footage will come out soon and stuff. There's me like walking down the street actually trying to teach people my theme song. And I just sing it in India. Like people would come up and get my autograph and stuff. And then we would sit there and we would listen to the song and we would try to sing. I would try to sing it with them or whatever. And it was some of the funniest thing. But the people in India were so respectful of how they really came up to get a picture. They would come up and they would say, "Can I get a picture, please?" Sir. Not just, "Hey, let's take a picture." And it was just so refreshing to hear people actually respect us instead of acting like we're a bunch of dancing monkeys.
What did you think about, getting over there and what was it, like 20-something hours to kind of get over there? Was that
not that I'm counting.
Was that a pain kind of, or was it worth it once you got there?
No, I always say a good thing Delta served Jack Daniels because I think we drink all the Jack on the flight. But and I always tell people, I'm like, the wrestling part's already it's come easy to me now. The traveling's the hard part. Sitting in planes and then hotel rooms and buses and stuff like that. Like because your adrenaline kicks in once you go through the curtain and your music's playing and stuff, and you really don't feel anything. And like I said, the hard part is just getting there and getting back home, But it was such a shock just to see how much poverty there is over there and like how poor it was in places too. Because like I came home and I told my wife like I wanted to sell everything off. I was just like I feel bad that I own stuff because we see this. Like there was this one incident we saw a 5-year-old kid. Oh, he's about 5 years old. He looked 5 years old, and he was naked, trying to start a fire with 2 sticks, and his parents were asleep in the shack. Like it was just, it was just sad to see, and it's eye-opening, But and once we got there to the studio, and we just, the crowd got in, and it wasn't quiet until everybody left because they were loud from the time they started walking in the building to the time they left.